Welcome back to the Relationship Mentors podcast. In this week, we're going to have a catch up from the week just gone. Also, how to get your needs met in a relationship, and then when to ask about the status of your relationship. Going to be a juicy one this week. Mia Cherry, what happened last week?
First off, hello. So to start off, let's just do a quick catch up. So my favorite part of the week was probably last night. Like we went for a nice nature walk, and then we ended up going to one of Charlie's old place that he used to live at, and we went and spent the night in the hot tub. So it was a really nice afternoon, evening, just away from work, like no work meetings, no just like that separation. Like we've been working really, really hard in business, and we spent so many hours behind the computer yesterday. So it was really nice to take that break.
Yeah, that was so nice. We wanted to do something fun. I feel like we've been working really hard, and fun has been missing a bit out of our relationship. So really just checking on that and putting some action in place of actually doing something different. And that's a huge thing in relationships. Whenever things aren't feeling right, doesn't mean the relationship's broken. When things aren't feeling good, doesn't mean you're not the right person for each other. It just means things need to change. Because at some point you did have that, right?
Yeah, it's just that self-awareness, really. It's like, I believe if we weren't self-aware enough, we could be like, oh, well, you're not doing this and we're not this and our relationship isn't like this anymore. However, it's just the reality of like, I've worked really hard all day in the office. You've worked hard. I just haven't seen you because I've been in the office all day. That is like, what I'm missing right now is just fun that's outside of work, because we love what we do so much. Yet we can really incorporate work in every area of our life. So it was like, I just want to have fun with my boyfriend outside of any work conversation. So it was really nice.
Yeah, I love that awareness piece of the relationship's great, even though it's been like, when we feel disconnected some days, it's having that awareness around, we're great, the relationship's great, we're currently feeling disconnected. It's not the relationship's disconnected in total, and that general view of it. It's specifically today I feel disconnected in the relationship, but I know we're so secure and we're great overall.
Yeah, 100%. So in saying that, what is your favorite moment of the week?
My favorite moment was, so I'm from Wales originally, which is in the UK, and living in Australia now. And that means I'm away from family, and I've been away for around 4 years, and I don't phone them enough. They don't phone me either. So I had a big catch up with mum the other day. It was super, super nice. Just catching up on her, how she's been doing. I feel like growing up, we never really had deep chats with parents. Like that's not a household we grew up in, but more now so as an adult, we can have those deeper conversations and really get to know them. And that's something I really value. Like going back to the UK after being away for so long, I really put the intention of getting to know mum and dad a lot better. So I feel like I've been having deeper conversations, and it's really, it felt really nice.
That's so sweet. It's like getting to re-meet your parents with the knowledge that you have now, just like more awareness on life.
Yeah, and over time as you grow up, like they're your mum and dad, and then you get to a point where they're still your mum and dad, but you view them as friends. You realize it's their first time as well on this earth. You, build that friendship and get to know them rather than always seeing them as your mum and dad.
Yeah, there was such a big perspective shift when you realize, like, you grow up and you just think like your teachers know everything, your parents know everything, and then when you grow up and then you're starting to learn and figure out life, you actually realize, oh wow, it is also my parents and my teachers' first time in life experiencing life as well. So that perspective shift, once you have that, is really big.
Yeah, and it happens in everything. People look at other people and think, wow, they must have their life so together. People look at us and be like, I bet they never argue. I bet they have the perfect relationship. It's like, nah, there's things that come up every single day where Mia doesn't feel loved, or Mia gets snappy at me, or like all these things come up.
Name some things that you do.
No, Mia doesn't feel loved. That's on me.
Okay.
And then Mia gets impatient. Like there's things that come up every single day.
Mia that.
Mia's the worst. Yeah, so it's all Mia's fault. But no, things come up every single day. And it's the same whenever you look at anyone else in life. If someone else has got more money, if someone else got a better relationship or a better health, it's like they only show you the best bits a lot of the time.
Yeah.
That's why we want to do this podcast a lot, to be more raw and get people to know us.
100%. And like, when we say that as well, it's like we all know that Instagram is a highlight reel, and you're not expected to post when you're going through a really horrible moment in your life. And I feel like sometimes we do say like, oh, Instagram's just a highlight reel. Everyone's just showing the best parts about their life. And like, of course they are. Why would they want to emphasize a shitty moment within their lives? So within everything that we post on social media, we are wanting to ideally show both sides as much as possible. And we know that is like, if people are really wanting to know more information about our relationship, about us, but more tools on how we utilize that within our relationship, then this podcast is where it's at.
It's where it's at.
It's where it's at.
Love it. First topic of this podcast, how to get your needs met. What are needs? Why are they important? Why is it important to get your needs met?
Yeah, how to get your needs met is such a broad statement overall. And I find right off the bat, so many people are actually unaware on what their needs actually are, only because they're not taking the time to self-reflect from, like, just reflect on any experiences they have. They just move forward without properly reflecting on the situation and how they created that for themselves and what needs weren't met or needed in those moments. That's the biggest thing, that's like just starting off there.
That is a really broad topic of getting your needs met, and it's so important in a relationship. And the first aspect is really getting to know your own needs, and that's such a missing piece for so many people.
So many.
They can't reflect on themselves. They feel some type of way. They feel frustrated. They feel impatient. They feel hurt. They feel unloved. They feel misunderstood. But it's like, what are your needs? That's what you don't want. So what do you want? It's so obvious, and it's so common for people to focus on the problems. My partner's defensive. I feel frustrated. I feel misunderstood. I feel hurt. I feel rejected, neglected, all these things. It's like, cool, you need to identify your needs so you can teach your partner better.
Exactly. And even everything that you just said as well, some things that you've just listed, it's so natural or automatic or being covered up, just assuming that your partner knows that. Like, I've been messaging a few girls over the last week and just getting an insight on their relationship, and they've been saying, I feel like my partner doesn't love me. I'm like, how do you know your partner doesn't love you? And it's like everything that it's like, I don't feel loved, they don't spend enough time with me. It's like, have you actually communicated that with your partner, or have you just assumed that they know that? And yeah, there's a lot of assumptions that are happening in relationships if they're not properly analyzing themselves and their needs in those moments.
There's assumptions and there's blame a lot of the time. Like, people need to take, like, it's my responsibility to make this relationship great, and it's your responsibility to make this relationship great. If I was just like, but me is this, me is that, or if you were like, Charlie doesn't make me feel loved, Charlie doesn't do this, he never does this, he never does that, it's like, is that my responsibility or Mia's responsibility? It's both of ours, right? You have a massive part to play in that.
On top of, sorry to cut you off there, but like, on top of that, it's your own responsibility to make you happy. And it's my own responsibility to make me happy. And it's also my own responsibility to make sure I show up the best that I can in this relationship. So it's both about responsibility to make sure that we're filling up our own cups and then filling up the cup in our relationship.
Yeah, it's not your partner's responsibility to make you happy. It's your responsibility to make you happy. And as soon as you can understand what makes you happy and teach your partner how to make you happy, that's when the relationship really starts going well. But so many people just expect their partner to know, right? Exactly. It's like, I don't feel safe. I don't feel loved. I don't feel connected. I don't feel recognized. It's like, cool. It's not your partner's responsibility to know exactly what you need. Like, expecting your partner to fulfill all your needs without telling them what your needs are is like trying to build a rocket ship without an instruction manual. Like, it's really complicated to love another person, right? Everyone has their own unique challenges and breakthroughs and traumas and problems and past mistakes and experiences and beliefs and all this stuff, right? So it's really important that you identify your own needs and actually teach your partner how to love you.
Exactly. And then you also said a point there of sometimes them feeling like, I don't feel recognized. And then you realize that that's a need that hasn't been met, that I'm not feeling recognized. If you feel that way, sit with yourself and ask yourself, what's happening right now? Why do I not feel recognized? Is it because when he first came home, he didn't drop everything and come over to you and seem really excited to see you? It's like, it can be so many little things. Sometimes it's like, I put his clothes away and he didn't thank me. And like all of this could not even be seen or recognized on your partner's point of view, just because maybe it's just out of their awareness and they had no idea. And if you're feeling that way, actually recognizing that, sitting with it, get super clear on why you don't feel recognized or appreciated. Be like, oh, it's this and this, and then go and start that conversation with your partner, not abruptly or starting a fight. It's simply sharing your perspective when you are both in a calm state. So then you can be on the same page. And that's the biggest thing that I really see missing in a relationship. They're lacking that self-awareness to then have that conversation with their partner, then how to communicate that effectively to their partner.
Yeah, there's so much missing, right? We've actually just filmed a program on all this, on how to really understand your own needs, how to communicate them effectively, how to understand the opposite sex. When you're in a relationship with someone and it's a heterosexual relationship, then your man or your woman operates completely different from you, and you need to know the differences. So that's all in the program. And also dealing with a defensive partner.
Yeah.
There's so much that comes into that. And getting your needs met is the biggest thing that comes up. And especially a defensive partner. I see that all too often. So it's like, really understand your own needs and don't expect your partner to just know everything. And don't expect your partner to recognize you for something you want to be recognized for. It's like, even like, I'm mad at my partner because I made the bed and he didn't thank me. It's like, that's an expectation. Yes, maybe he should have recognized you, but it's still not his responsibility. He can be more considerate maybe, but you can also tell him, hey, I love it when you thank me for the little things, like making the bed.
Yeah. Just to bring in a personal story here, even the statement about, I remember when we first moved in together, like a couple months in, you have a tendency just to, like, you walk in and then you put your stuff down at the door and then you go on with your life. However, it wasn't until I fully made sense on how a male brain works and how they see things, and it's like, if that's not in their awareness, they don't see it, pretty much. And then it's like, I noticed that I was like, oh, I'll help him and like hang up this shirt and like tidy up your shoes. And to him, he just placed them there. So like the moment they're down and in a place, he just goes on with, like Charlie just goes on with his life and then focuses on the next thing, because males just focus. Singular focus. So I'd like clean up and tidy up. And then after a while, I just felt like, oh, like I don't feel appreciated in these moments. And it was oh so little, just in those like, oh, a little shirt here, a little shirt there. But then I realized, it's like, oh, I feel like I'm just cleaning up after him. And it started off with just helping you out. And then I had that conversation with you that it's just like one shirt here, shoes here, that it was just not in your awareness whatsoever. And then it was me recognizing that it's like, you're not a messy person whatsoever. It's like, I believe we're both very clean. It was just in that moment that I started to feel unappreciated ever so slightly, and then bringing it up into both of our awareness so we could both be aware of it. And it's not like I allowed it to happen for months, feeling that way, then building up resentment, and then bursting and angrily arguing with you, like, you never clean up after yourself, because that's not true. It's like, you do clean up after yourself. It was just those few shirts or shoes that didn't happen.
That's such a thing. We shared this story of the coffee cup, I think, a few episodes ago. When you leave a coffee cup on the side, and then you just say you're a woman and your man leaves a coffee cup on the side, and you think, oh, he didn't put it away, I'll put it away. And then he does it the next day, you think, oh, I wish he put it away, and you put it away. Then the next day is like, he needs to put this away, and then you put it away. And then he keeps doing it over and over. It's just such a small thing for him. He puts his coffee cup on the side, and then one day you absolutely blow up at him. You're like, stop leaving the coffee cup on the side. And he's like, whoa, she's so reactive, she's so emotional, she's so sensitive, she's so needy.
She overreacted over nothing.
Yeah, why is she reacting like this? It's just a coffee cup. It's like, it's not the coffee cup. It's the hundreds of times before that it bothered you, but you didn't bring it up. And then it blows up into this big argument. Whereas if you can actually bring it up when it comes up for you, that makes such a difference. Being in a relationship with Mia, I always said I want someone who brings up their stuff and they don't hide anything, and they just air out their needs. And I definitely get that. And it can be it can be frustrating in the short term. It's like, oh, you're literally picking up on all the little things that you want to be improved upon. And that is such a positive trait, because it doesn't blow up into shit over time. Like, nothing's getting kept under the surface. Nothing's being swept under the rug. And at the same time, in the moment, it can be like, oh, you're really calling me to be the best version of myself.
It's so funny. Like, it's so, again, well and easy to hear it here. And then it's just like in those moments when it just feels like we're bringing up all these little things. However, it's these little things that will make all the difference in the long run. It's like our day today is so, I believe now our day todays are so calm and they're so easygoing just because I know what you like and you know what I like. And since we've communicated so much over our relationship, we've been able to make sense of what your needs are and what my needs are. And your needs and expectations can evolve over time as well. So it's not like it's one time set and forget. It's like your needs and expectations do evolve over time.
That's why it's so important to check in with each other.
Yeah, 100%.
And you get to a point with your partner where you just know what they need straight away. Like when Mia reacts a certain way, it could be the smallest facial expression, body language, act, then I can just tell, like, she doesn't feel loved. She didn't feel appreciated. There's that micro rejection in that moment. And I just know it so well. And when you spend so much time with your partner and you learn them so much, you really pick up on all those little things.
That's so interesting. I never knew that you had that observation of me. Like the story that came to my head, I was like, yeah, I guess like I feel like I know you very well. Like I can see in the morning when you're starting to get like hungry and peckish that I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just like start breakfast for you because I know that you're wanting that soon. Or it's like when you're about to go film something and then you start procrastinating, or you get really in your emotions before you want to like go out of the house, and so you like take ages to get ready. And
there's so many little things. Like when I feel cooped up in the house, I've got cabin fever of being inside too much. Mia's like, hey, you need to go out in nature. You need to go do something. Like, cool, I will. And then she sees me walking around the house for ages. It's like, are you procrastinating filming a video? I was like, yeah, I am. Just all those little things you pick up.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's the funnest thing about learning someone else and seeing their little
mannerisms
and characteristics. I love it. So it's really important to recognize your own ones, and over time you'll get so good at it. If you bring up the things that aren't feeling good for you in the relationship, or recognizing what makes you feel good, then that helps the other person learn you so much better, and you actually learn your own needs as well.
You've said it before, and I love it that I'll always use it now. It's like the more you understand and make sense of your own needs and expectations, and you communicate that with your partner, you're simply teaching a partner how to love you best. And it's like, how great is that? It's like the more I get to know Charlie and the more he expresses his needs and expectations to me, I get to know how to love you the best. And I love you, so of course I want to make sure that I'm loving you the best way possible, the way that you feel loved, and vice versa. Yeah,
and that's a whole nother thing. Your partner wants to love you. Your partner wants to know how to love you in the most effective way, in the best way possible. And you not telling them, you not teaching them, you not having the self-awareness, is doing them such a big disservice and doing yourself such a big disservice. Like, they want to love you to the best of their ability. It feels good when they can love you. It feels good when they're doing a good job. Like me personally, and a lot of men I speak to, they take so much pride in when their partner feels loved. Like, I feel so good when Mia's great. I'm great. When she feels loved and she's happy, it makes me feel super happy and good about myself. And if Mia didn't share about what was going on for her, if she avoided telling me, if she just kept things away from me, then that would make me feel really bad. So give your partner a hand in actually loving you.
There's a few messages that I saw this week of, like I said before, a few girls feeling that they're in a relationship and their partner doesn't love them. It's like, how many of those girls that messaged me that hadn't actually had that conversation with their partner, and from their partner's point of view, like, of course they love you, they just probably don't know how to show you that they love you. Does that make sense? It's like they could be,
it's not for lack of trying.
Yeah, they could be doing all these things from their point of view, is showing you that they love you. However, from your point of view, that's just not how you receive love. However, you haven't communicated that effectively to your partner. And that's like what we do go over in the course, on just getting clear on your own needs, to then communicate that with your partner, to then also being able to communicate to the opposite sex is a massive thing.
Yeah, even something basic like love languages. If you just want quality time with your partner where he's present with you, he's in the moment he's listening to you, you're building that emotional intimacy. That's your version of love. And maybe his version of love is going out, working, bringing you presents. Like if acts of service and gifts is his love language and yours is quality time, then it's going to be a mismatch where he wants to make you feel loved, but he's not doing a good job. He probably feels shit about it. You feel unloved. You feel misunderstood. You get frustrated at him. He feels bad. He gets annoyed. Like there's so much back and forth if you don't understand your own needs.
Yeah. Okay, so I have a question for you. So in our course, we go over how to get your needs met, or
Yeah.
how to get your needs met. Is that
Yeah.
the one? And how to communicate to the opposite sex. And what was the other one?
Defensiveness.
And so if you could go over 1 point for each one of those, these would be great.
Yeah, so understanding your own needs, really getting to know yourself in the moments. And there's 3 big ones. There's safety, there's connection, and there's recognition. Like they're the big 3 pillars that we get you to understand. So figuring out your own needs, getting really, really clear on them, getting to know yourself every single day. You're learning more and more about yourself, and your partner can learn more about their self as well. And then communicating your needs. Like so many people, it's not about what you say a lot of the time, it's how you say it. And there's these little small differences that can be the difference between you sounding like you're blaming your partner compared to you teaching your partner how to love you. So there's those small differences in communicating your needs. And then dealing with the opposite sex. Men and women operate completely differently in terms of communication and a lot of time how they receive love. So really understanding that's super important. And then the reactions like defensiveness, lashing out at your partner, feeling frustrated, feeling emotionally overwhelmed, all this stuff. It's really important to be able to deal with that in yourself and also in your partner's reaction. So that's the basic overview of the program. There will be a link below this podcast where you can jump on. It's $27, super accessible to everyone. Just really understand your own needs and yeah, just improve your relationship from that. Super, super important. So we're going to go into when to ask about the status of your relationship. Mia's got a little story up here. So I'm a 28-year-old female. I have been seeing a guy who's 29 years old for the past 2 months. During this time, we've seen each other daily. We talk on the phone. We go out on dates. We're intimate. No label has been put on the relationship besides we're dating. He's also told me numerous times that he is not seeing or talking to anyone else. When I finally asked the dreaded question of what are we, I got the response of I'm not ready to commit because we're just getting to know each other. Am I in the wrong for being upset with this? I let it be known that I'm not interested in a hookup since the beginning, and he also stated the same, and it truly feels like a relationship just without the label. I'm hesitant to continue this because I know my feelings will continue being hurt if we don't commit. Yet again, is he right when he says 2 months isn't enough? I feel like any time I bring it up to him, we talk in circles and nothing ever comes from it except more and more confusion. Any advice? Maybe it's too soon.
I'd love to get a male's perspective on this first before I dive into my opinion.
Oh, my opinion is, like, I knew I loved you from the first date. That sounds super cute, and it is. And it's just like, if you want it, get after it. Like, if you're a guy listening to this podcast and you go on a date with someone and you know that girl is the one for you, why not pursue her and tell her your intentions straight away? Like, a lot of people don't do it out of fear of rejection, or they put themselves out there, then they get put down. But when you're so open with a woman, you state your intentions, you show confidence in yourself of what you want, that's super attractive to the female, and that's what wins them over a lot of the time. Like, when we started dating, I pursued you a lot in the sense of after the first, like, I started texting you, organized the first date. After the first date, I want to see you in a few days. I want to see you. Like, I kept pursuing you and showing so much interest.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the big thing that won you over. So in the early stages of dating, like, if you're a guy and you're really into that girl and you know they're the one, not even know they're the one, you just know that there's going to be a good future with that girl. It's like, go for it. If you have that certainty, go for it. If not, leave her alone and go elsewhere.
What would your advice be to her specifically? Because by the sounds of it, from the guy's perspective, he isn't pursuing her. He is, by the sounds of it, just wanting the best of both worlds. Like, gets what he wants without having any commitment to that person. So he's also keeping his options open for anyone else that comes by.
Yeah, I only shared from the guy's perspective, but from the woman's perspective, it comes down to the quality of questions as well. Like, ask when will you know, when is long enough. Like, you need to find out a definite, like, when are we going to know if this is a thing? Otherwise, he's just going to string you along in this situationship for however long, right? You need to tie that guy down in the sense of, hey, when is long enough? And if he says 6 months, it's like, holy shit, that's so long. That's probably not worth it.
Yeah, from my perspective, he maybe disagree with you on a little bit of that. So it's like 6 months is like, a guy does not need 6 months to figure out if he wants to spend time with you.
Absolutely not.
It's like he does not need 6 months. It's like, it's in those 6 months you could have been committed to each other, be like, hey, let's actually get to know each other and solely each other in this time. And like, why is there such a fear about putting labels on a relationship?
That's so true.
It's just like, be committed. It's like, we were committed almost straight away within our relationship. It's like, you showed me that you were interested and you pursued me, and my boundaries were set and clear in our relationship. It's like, by the sounds of it, you've tried to communicate your boundary of, I'm not wanting a fling, but did you communicate what you are wanting, or did you just say what you didn't want? And then he said, no, I don't want a fling either. And you guys aren't a fling because you're seeing each other every day, he's calling you, you're going out on dates, but yet you didn't set a strong enough boundary of saying you actually want a relationship. Like, are you wanting that? Have you communicated that with him? Because by the sounds of what she said in the message, you haven't done that. And it's such a common thing that I see in relationships, or females and males overall, is that they know maybe what they want, yet they don't communicate it. They state one thing, assuming that it insinuates something else. Like the fact that I said, or she said, I don't want a fling, but yet you just told him what you didn't want. You didn't say you wanted a relationship. You just probably insinuated that. But that wasn't clear communication. You just made an assumption that he would know what that meant. But from his end, he's like, I get to have the benefits of having a person by my side. I get to be intimate with them. I get to do all these things with them. However, I can possibly talk to other girls. I have the possibility to chat to other girls, flirt with other girls, or keep my options open for someone better. Even that he stated that he isn't messaging anyone or isn't pursuing anyone else, I believe that could be very much true. However, he still knows that it's a possibility and he's allowed to do that, which then, in my perspective, is like, I personally just see it, you didn't state your boundaries strong enough, and he's getting to have the best of both worlds until you officially decide that you are wanting this, or clear, like you're happy to continue down this road of almost nothingness.
Yeah.
Or get clear on your own boundaries and communicate that to either be in a relationship or not want to be in a relationship with them.
Yeah. Get clear on what you want. Be stern with it. A lot of women struggle to be assertive. They beat around the subject because they worry, if I bring it up, I might face rejection. So I'm just going to beat around the bush and not be clear in my communication. That way he won't directly reject me. So it's about being assertive with what you want. Yeah, and just saying that, like, I want a relationship. Is this something for you? I can't commit to you. Okay, we're not the right fit for each other. And you actually have an answer rather than just being in this in-between space.
Interesting.
We disagreed a little bit. I don't feel like we disagreed on that.
No, I just feel like I more so answered her question.
Yeah.
You just gave more value on a different angle.
Yeah. Yeah, from the woman's perspective, just be clear. And from the guy's perspective, be clear. Just don't play games. And I think for the first month, we were not playing games with each other. We were just pursuing each other, showing genuine interest, not talking to anyone else. Just, we were fully bought in. And then I think it was a month down the line of seeing each other, maybe after like 4 or 5 dates. No, more than that. It'd be like 6 or 7 days.
Yeah, I believe we were dating each other, like seeing each other without like a label, as you would call it. Not that we just hadn't had that conversation yet. That we were like, you were pursuing me so much, like every single day you were messaging me. We always had our next date planned. And
you were messaging me too.
Oh yeah, no.
Made me sound like a creep. I was just messaging you.
You were just messaging me.
I was pursuing.
No, I definitely didn't mean it in that way. I just meant like it wasn't any games, like you were giving me the silent treatment. Like we'd go on a date and then you wouldn't text me or call
Treat them
me.
mean, yeah.
So I just meant like, yeah, you were actively pursuing me as I was actively reciprocating
Aw.
to that. However, it's like we were seeing each other so much and going on those dates. That is when it did come to that 1 month mark. Not that there was a time frame, it just happened to be that time. That it was how the conversation came about. It was me specifically having that conversation about what my boundaries are. It's like, hey, I am genuinely looking for a long-term relationship. Like, I'm not wanting a short-term flings or situationships. Like, I'm just letting you know that this is what my perspective is and this is what I'm wanting. This is why I'm dating, is to find my forever person. And then I wasn't expecting like me sharing that. It wasn't expecting you to have to be on that page. It was like, hey, this is the page that I'm on. This is what I'm looking for. What are you currently looking for? Are you on the same page or are you wanting something else? And it wasn't.
Well, how did you feel at that time?
For
Because the month's been going great and
Yeah.
we haven't made anything official yet. Then you asked that question.
Yeah. I believe, since I am just such a confident person in that sense, I didn't feel nervous just because I knew that's exactly what I was wanting.
Yeah.
However, I did know maybe in someone else's shoes, if they've had a stigma around, oh, I don't want to be seen as needy or as something, whatever that is it that they could be afraid to bring up that conversation. However, if anything, just having that conversation helped our relationship so much. It's like I already knew that you were interested in me, yet at that time I didn't know if you say now that you fell in love with me on our first date.
Any guy could say that he's interested and play this game.
Yeah, like, and at that point when I had that conversation with you, I didn't know if you like loved me or that you saw a forever future. Like, I really hoped that you saw a long-term future and you were wanting that. However, I didn't come with any preconceived notions about that. I'm like, okay, I know that even if he says no here, that I'm strong enough to hold myself and know that there's other fish in the sea and go forth with that. However, I did really like you and I did really want this to work. Like, and knowing that if you weren't on the same page as me, that is okay. Like, I'm not going to force you to be like, you have to be this because I want to be with you. So you have to be with me forever. It's like, no, that's not a realistic expectation. This is what I'm wanting and looking for. Are you also looking for the same thing, or are you just wanting to hook up and have that hookup culture? Not necessarily the hookup culture, but just the attention of having a girl around you, which I do find there are guys out there who are just wanting that, and that's okay in the short term if you communicate that with someone and they're also on the same page with you. Sometimes people are having these dates and somewhat relationships, but not relationships, and not having that conversation, and it gets to be like 6 months down the track and they don't have a label on it, or themselves are not clear on the situation that they're in. Or like, is it a relationship? Is it not a relationship? And the fact that we had that conversation like 3-4 weeks in, I just knew exactly where you were at. You knew exactly where I was at. Then I'm like, oh, great. Okay, that's cool. We're going to keep doing the exact same stuff that we were doing before. But now I'm just clear on it myself.
That was such a fun journey, hey?
Yeah.
Getting to know each other. And, that's so cute.
Yeah, you always say that one conversation of me bringing that up, you always joke around like, where you asked me out, you've asked me out.
You asked me out. That's
and
so
then
funny.
I was like, from my perspective, I didn't ask you out. I was just saying, hey, this is what I'm wanting, a long-term relationship. Is that what you're wanting, or are you just wanting a short-term thing? I don't even remember what you answered, but I just remember that now we're together.
I said I wanted a long-term thing. And we made it happen. 2 years later, we've got a podcast together. We've got an apartment together. We've got a business together.
And then, yes, within saying that as well, it was 3 months in. I don't know if it was 3 months in of us dating or us talking is when Charlie asked me to move in with him. Like, now looking back, I was like, wow.
And register our relationship.
and registered our relationship with the government. But like, now looking back, I'm like, oh, wow, we were only 3 months in. That's actually not that long. However, since we communicated what we were wanting and what our needs are and our expectations are of each other and getting to know each other in that time, it didn't feel like it was only 3 months in because we knew each other so well.
Yeah.
If that
we
makes
got
sense.
to know each other so well.
Yeah.
And fast.
100%. So then when I read messages like this lady, for example, that they've been together or somewhat seeing each other for 2 months now. Is that too soon to ask for commitment? I'm like, Charlie and I were together for 3 months and he asked me to move in with him. The fact that you've known this guy for 2 months and he doesn't even know if he wants like to be with you, like,
bit of a red flag.
yeah, that's what I was trying to get when I
2
first read
months,
it.
that's a decent amount of time.
So that's when,
You should have an answer by then, I reckon.
Yeah.
There's no set rule, but surely 2 months in, there should be a good idea of whether you want to be with this person.
it's not even that. I'm actually very set on 2 months in, you know if you're interested in that person or not.
That
Just-
is the rule.
That is
Mia
the rule.
Cherry's but a rule.
No, I just say it's a statement. It's like if we were spending every day together and you didn't know if you liked me enough to want to spend more time with me.
Yeah.
It's like we just spent 2 months together. You would know me well enough to know if you want to continue to getting to know me or do you not want to continue getting to know me. And I'm just very clear on that.
Yeah, a lot of people know, but there's still things that come up for them, like the fear of commitment or not wanting to put themselves out there, not wanting to be closed into a serious relationship because what happened last time, I got cheated on, I got this, I got that. So it's like, it can be a bit clouded. Your emotions feel one way and your head says another. But it's still just going for it.
Yeah, and from my personal opinion and from what I see within a relationship, for me, it is black and white. You can cloud it up all you want and turn it into grey as much as you want. However, it is black or white. You're wanting to get to know that person, get to know that person, and then being in a committed relationship does not mean you're going to spend it's not a commitment that you're going to spend the rest of your life together. Even after everything that I just said about meeting Charlie, I'm wanting to meet someone to spend the rest of my life with. And also at that stage, I was also aware of, you date someone just to get to know them more. You're not married. You're not marrying them in that moment. You're simply getting to know the other person more. And that's what dating and being in a relationship is.
It's allowed to finish.
Yeah, there's allowed to be an ending. Relationships, we have so many relationships over our lifetime, like relationships with our parents, relationships with our siblings, friends, people that we meet, co-workers. It's like not all these relationships are going to last forever, but in those relationships that you have, you get to know that person and their experience through life, and you get to have fun experiences with them. So why limit yourself to not fully going deep with someone, because that is so fun and that is so exciting.
Yeah, don't pussyfoot around it. Go to the depth of the human experience. Commit fully. Fall in love fully. Get hurt fully. It's like people avoid getting hurt, and at the same time they avoid feeling the real depth of connection and love. So it's like, you got to be vulnerable. You got to be open enough to feel those things in order to feel the good things like love, connection, excitement, fun. So that was a really good episode.
Yeah, I really like that.
So we went over how to get your needs met. So making sure you understand your own needs, you effectively communicate them, you understand the opposite sex, and you can deal with things like defensiveness. If you want help with that, there's a program in the description right now. There's a link to a program, $27. You can go through the trainings, do the tasking, and that'll really help you out in your relationship. And then we went over how to ask about the status of your relationship. So getting clear on, what is this? Is this a fling? Is this a serious relationship? So make sure you ask, make sure you be assertive in your communication and ask for what you want. And then Mia Cherry, what are you excited about this week going forward?
This week. So currently it is Thursday, and tomorrow we are going to the Sunshine Coast. So anyone that doesn't know, we live in Australia at the Gold Coast, and we're going to a different coastline called the Sunshine Coast, which is 2 hours away, for 3 days. So I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, me too.
It's like,
get out of Gold Coast for a bit.
yeah, it's another beach town, but it's a different area. So it's like different energies, different vibes. And I'm excited for that.
Yeah, we'll go on a little road trip. I think that'll be super fun. Even the road trip up there.
Yeah.
Put some tunes on. I think it'll
I
be fun.
love car rides. They're so relaxing.
You do,
But,
don't you?
yeah,
You're like a dog.
Thank you. That's so nice. What about you? What are you excited for?
That was my answer.
Yeah, I was like, I feel like we're experiencing the same thing. So
We do
what are you
everything the
excited
same.
for?
So I'm excited for that. That's really, really cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for watching. Tune in every single Monday. We release a new episode. Catch up with us. Learn more about creating a great relationship. And check out the link in the description. Thank you so much. I will see you next week.
Thanks, guys. See you later.